What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys the easiest way to patch any hole in your wall or ceiling. Let's get straight into it, guys. Let's do this. Alright guys, so we've got two holes here in a wall. You can see this one here is a strange little shape right here. Doesn't matter what shape or size it is, the repair process is going to be exactly the same. And make sure you don't use one of these steel patches here. You can see the doorknob's gone through the back of this wall here. Someone's decided to patch it with one of those steel plates. You can see the steel in the back. Obviously didn't work anyway, but have a look at the finish. Absolutely horrible. Don't use those steel plates, they're absolute garbage. I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is to fix both of these holes. Alright, so with this one here, all you want to do is just simply break off any of those crumbly sections that are on the edges, because it never breaks smooth. If you are painting it in the same color, perfect time to grab a sample piece is right now while you're trying to break all these apart. So if you wanted a sample piece to color match your paint, simply take that into your local paint store and they'll be able to color match it for you. So now we've cleaned the hole out, we know roughly what size we're gonna have. We're gonna take our tape measure and all you wanna do is just go from one damaged side to the other. Check that measurement there, that's about 200 mil right there, so that's perfect. And the height from damage to damage is 100. So we're going to cut a piece of a plasterboard, gyprock sheet, drywall, sheetrock, whatever you want to call it, plasterboard. It's the same thing all around the world. We're going to cut a piece at 200 by 100. So I've got a piece roughly at 200 by 100. It doesn't have to be exact as long as it's going to be enough to cover that hole. So we'll score the paper, break it from the back. Try and let you guys see there. Go down from the back of the side. This one here can go. We're going to do the same thing here. You can see there, completely off that cut, but it doesn't make a difference. As long as it's bigger than the actual damaged area, that's all we're after here. So we've got a nice little piece here. Bit of a strange shape, but that's good because that's going to show you guys that it doesn't actually have to be exact, and you'll see why now. So all we do is we take this piece, put it straight over the hole, get it to cover the damage as much as possible until you're happy with it. That's looking pretty good right there. I'll put an arrow here so I know to put it back in this position. Trace around the edge. And now we're going to cut this section here out. So we take our little saw here and just simply trace that one there out. Alright, now we've got our section here completely cut out and that's going to fit perfectly for our piece. So now we need some scrap pieces of timber. As long as it's flat on one side, that's all that matters, and it has to be larger than the actual opening. So we're going to brace this one here on the inside. That's going to give us our added support. So slot that in from the back, sit it nice and flat on one side and attach this one to the wall. Take it easy when you first start. Alright, I'll give it one more screw or two more screws. Alright, that's looking good. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So now we've got our backing in, which is going to be our support. Clean up anything that's inside that might be in your way because you want that to sit nice and flat. Take your piece, remembering we've got our little arrow here, and that slots in perfect just like that. So we'll take a couple more screws and attach this one to our support. Alright, and once we've got that one there installed, it's now nice and flat. We're going to clean this off before we start filling and taping. What we're going to do now is work on this section here, and I'll show you guys this little steel plate that's absolutely horrible. Alright, so now with this section here, it's obviously got a steel plate that you can see the big square around it. This one here is held in usually just by joint compound, so we're going to just pry this one here back out. Absolute garbage. have a look at how thick that plate is. There's no way you're going to get that flat without bringing out your joint compound all the way up, super wide. There's no way you're going to get it. So don't use that stuff. We'll clean all this rubbish off. And you can see all that filler all the way around the edges, so we'll get rid of that as well. This is all previous patchwork. So we can take our tape measure, once again do the same thing. If you want, you can cover this paper here that's been torn. Doesn't really matter, stick your fingers in so you know roughly where you're working to. If there's anything in the way, it's looking pretty good there, so we'll bring it right here. If we do at about 130 by 100, that'll be perfect. So I'll cut a piece at 130 by 100. So we've got our little piece cut out here. We'll put that straight over the top. Once again, check, make sure there's nothing in the way. So that's looking pretty good right there. That's perfect. Once again, draw the arrow, trace it, and we'll cut this section here out. And once again, we're going to install these in the back here as some support. Alright, now we can take our piece, drop that in, perfect. Alright, so once we've got our piece in, all you want to do is take your scraper, clean off the edges, make sure everything's nice and flat, we don't have any loose material like we do there. Alright, that's now ready to be filled with our base coat, or in my case I like to use corner cement for my taping, so we'll put in some corner cement or base coat with our tape straight over that and we're ready to go. So for the base coat, I've just simply mixed up some corner cement. Now corner cement dries or sets harder and faster than a base coat, so that's why I prefer to use it. We've just got some mixed up in a bucket here. All we're going to do is pre-fill any of these gaps here that are around the edges, and then we're going to apply a thicker amount around the edge once again and simply put on our tape. So once we get to that section, I'll show you guys what tape we're using as well. And I recommend you use that tape because it makes life much easier, especially if you're new at this. Simply fill it in. Doesn't have to be perfect. All we need to do is just simply fill it inside that gap all the way around, pushing it in a few different directions until it's nice and flat as we've got there. We'll do the same thing up here. Alright, that's all now been pre-filled. What we can do now is just simply put a thick bead all the way around, or a thick bedding, and that's going to give something for our tape to sit into. Once again, don't worry about what it looks like just yet. It's a step-by-step process, and right now all we're concerned about is taping it and filling it. So you can see that's absolutely horrible right there, really bad finish. So we'll do the same thing down the bottom, just put a thicker bead on. Don't be too concerned about your finish. We're not trying to finish it just yet. Alright, so the tape that we're using is this one right here. It's called Fiber Fuse. It's itchy if you run your hands on it, but it's much easier than using paper tape or mesh tape. It's really DIY friendly. It's very easy to use. Like I said, it just makes your hands itchy. That's probably the only downfall to it. So all we need to do is just simply go over that joint, cut it, do the same thing down here, cut it, we'll slide that one back into position. I'll fill in that middle section as well. Really easy to cut as well. Try not to overlap your pieces. So I've brought you guys in a bit closer because I think the other one was too far away for you guys to see. So just simply hold it in the middle, slide everything out. You can see there we're just simply embedding it, pushing all that excess material out. Hold it down. Hold your tape so it doesn't move, and then you can smooth it all off. Same thing with the top. Now, like I said, we're not too concerned about our finish just yet. All we need to do is just simply embed that tape, which we've done right now. Clean up any of that mess that's around the edges. We're just going to let it set. It should take about 20-30 minutes for it to go hard, and then we can start using our top coats. Now, I'm not sure if you guys could see from a distance. That's why I've just recorded this bottom one here. But from now on, I think I might just bring in the camera a bit closer so you guys can actually see what it looks like. If we come in close, you can see there by far it's nowhere near perfect, and we're not intending to have it perfect at the moment. We're just trying to get everything on, which we've done. It's all taped up, sitting as flat as possible to the wall, and that's all that matters right now. So when it's all dry, just scrape off any high spots. We don't need to sand anything. So this time around, the joint compound, we want to bring it out wider all the way around. On our third coat, we're going to bring it out even wider than that. So all we're doing is just slowly blending it into the existing wall. So start on the edges. Bring that over the middle. Flatten it all out. And that'll do it for that coat. We'll do the same thing up here. That'll do it. We'll let this one here dry, which hopefully shouldn't take too long because it's not too thick. Probably about another half an hour or so. Once again, we'll come back, we'll scrape off any high spots, build it out just a little bit wider once again, and then we'll be ready for sanding and painting. So once it's dry, take your scraper, knock off any high spots that there might be. There shouldn't be that many this time around. And knock off any high spots and then go through with your third and final coat. So once again, we're using a larger joint knife and we're going to bring it out even wider. Fill in that middle section. We'll do the same thing down the bottom and then I'll smooth them both off at the same time. Filling that middle section. Running a bit short on material. Alright, so we'll feather the edges. Flatten out that middle section. If you find any little pockets, put a little bit on top. Doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but the better job you do at finishing this off, the less sanding you're going to have to do. So I'm going to leave this one here. We've got a slight little edge there from the edge of the blade, but we'll leave that one, sand it all out. So I'm going to leave this one here to dry, then we'll come back and get started on sanding. So once that's dry, you can then get started on sanding. You can use an electric sander, pole sander, sanding block. In my case, I'm just going to have a little piece of sandpaper in my hand, 120 grit. I personally like to start on the edges, then go over the middle section, make sure it's all nice and flat. The better job that you did on patching, the less sanding you're going to have to do. So sometimes it's worth spending a little bit more time on patching, so you don't have to spend it on sanding. Also, wear a mask if you want. I know somebody's going to put it in the comment section. Start on the outside, make sure it's all blended. So now my outside's nice and blended, one little piece here, that's better. Now I can just knock off this middle section. That's perfect now, ready for painting. And once the wall's been painted, this here is the finished product. I'll do my best to try keep my shadow out of the way, but there is no way that you'd be able to tell that this was previously patched or that there was a hole there. Perfect finish every single time, nice and simple. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video and you've learned something new. As always guys, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.